Hello everybody. Today we will talk about a very important topic. And why is this important? Because if we look at the results of our education system, it definitely is not very encouraging. And what do I mean by results? See, in our system, typically a child goes through 12 years of schooling, grade 1 to grade 12, and then 4 years of college. Now, a few do masters and PhD, but that's a very small percentage. So after 16 years, what is the end product? Should be somebody, a person who's educated, who's very capable, and who can be employed. Now let's look at the results. If you look at the results of graduates, and I'll talk about engineering graduates because that's some area I have hired a lot of people, and that's my area of expertise also. So if you look at all the statistics and news articles and surveys that has been done and listen to industry leaders, the percentage of employable engineers is in single digit. That means over 90% are unemployable. That means they cannot be employed with whatever the existing education they have. This is after 16 years of education. So you need to understand, so much time and money has been invested, and the end product is basically it's like saying, hey, it's good for nothing, really, to put it in a very blunt language. So that brings a very interesting question. What is wrong? See, even if you recollect, Shashi Tharoor in one of the parliamentary meetings had mentioned, and this is like less than 6-8 months ago, had mentioned that over 60% of the engineers or people with technical education do not even do a technical job. That proves the point. Now, where is the problem? All right, we know there is a problem, but why is this problem coming? So let's go back to how our schooling system works. So our schooling system is like a big factory, right? Everybody's taught the same subject, you take the exams, and if you get good marks, it is believed that you have actually learned the subject. In reality, getting marks and knowledge of the subject, there is not very strong correlation between the two, all right? But let's just go with the exam theory. Hey, if you get good marks, you are studying well and you are doing well. What is the passing percentage? Typically it is 35. Maybe in some schools it is as high as 50, but somewhere between 35 and 50 is the passing mark. So I want you to visualize with me now. Let's say we are building a skyscraper and it needs a solid foundation like any skyscraper would do. So we will take the 16 years of this education, 12 in school and 4 in college, as the foundation years, where the child's solid foundation is being put. And we will make one very generous assumption that everybody is good till 5th grade. Whatever, all the basics, the language, the grammar, what has been taught, they can read and write very well till 5th grade. Now let's look at a scenario of a student who is in 6th grade and gets 70% marks. This kid is above average. 70% is like an average kid. Okay. So now imagine one layer of foundation stone, but only 70% of the stones have been put. 30% are missing. Next year, let's say the kid again gets 70%. All right. Second layer, again 30% stones are missing. Only 70% are laid there. You keep going year after year, and let's be very generous here. Okay, let's say every year the kid gets 70% marks. Can you imagine how many holes will be there in this foundation? Generally what happens is, if that is the case, if he starts at 70 in the lower years, as the years progress, he'll become 65, 60, 50, he'll keep going down. It's a very small percentage of students who put a lot of extra effort or maybe even spend money in tuition and try to improve the score. Now after 16 years, you have a foundation with so many holes. How big a building can you build? 5-story, 10-story, and let's say each story is really 1 year in a person's career. That's one of the reasons a lot of people by the time after 5, 6 or 10 years stagnate. Why? The foundation itself was so weak. See, 90% are not even unemployable. Okay, so just by graduating, there is a problem. Literally, it's like saying, man, you can't even build a building. The foundation is so weak, it's completely porous. It cannot hold anything. But there are some kids who are good. They get 80s and 90s, and that's where you start seeing the problem in their career in 5 years or 10 years down the road. You cannot build a bigger building. Why? The foundation is so weak. They never learned how to study, how to be independent in learning things, and how to independently learn new things. See, after schooling, there is no spoon feeding. You don't have teachers to teach you. You don't have tutors who will guide you. You don't have exam preparations. Every day of your career is a test of your ability to learn on your own, to prove that you have learned and you can deliver on your own, and your performance is the test, and that happens every single day. You do good, hey, you get good promotions, good raises. You don't do good, hey, you stagnate, and in extreme circumstances, you may even be fired. Very simple. So the schooling system of spoon feeding doesn't work. In fact, it becomes a big handicap, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people stagnate within 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. They just cannot improve their skill. They can't learn new things. And if you're a manager, you probably can relate to what I'm saying. Finding good quality people, talented people is an absolute challenge for any manager. This is one of the reasons, because the foundation was weak. Now someone can say, hey Ajay, it's like, but yeah, marks are good, but the reason they are taught a lot of subjects. Now let me give a different perspective. See, even when people are in the exams, if you look at the exams itself, most of the teachers and students know how to rig the exam. How you game it. How do you do that? Pretty much you look at all the old exam papers, especially if it's a board exam and all, you know what are the important chapters from which you're going to get some questions, and you put a lot of emphasis on those chapters. And rest of it, good enough, kind of stuff. But my argument here is, if you are teaching a subject, shouldn't you test the student on 100% of the knowledge? Think of the foundation. Why should it be 50%? Just imagine a kid who's graduating or, passing out that particular year with 35. Man, there is no foundation. It's like 65% of the stones are missing. Okay. With this building, you cannot even build any building on this. And you can see the results in real life. So if you're teaching 100%, ideally you should test the student for 100% knowledge. Everything he has been taught. And if somebody says, hey, it's not everything is important. If it's not important, drop it. Why teach? So if you're teaching, it has to be important. And if it is important enough, then the child must be tested for 100%. As a parent, you probably are chuckling or maybe in a state of shock. You know very well. 100%, if you put the passing mark as 100%, hardly any kid is going to pass. And that proves my point. That's where there's a problem in the very foundation. And that has to be addressed. The child has to become an independent student, ability to learn on his own, and has to be tested for everything that is taught. Literally. So the passing mark has to be 100%. Anything less, well, some remedial corrections have to be done so the student gets 100%. Anyway, that's my view on and my solution how this major crisis we have can be handled. What do you think? Do you agree? You have a different take? Please share. Either comment, share or like. And with that, I'll end my conversation. Thank you for listening. This is Ajay Iyer signing off. Take care.